A couple of years ago, I wrote for a book called the Complete Super NES Guide or Ultimate Guide, and this is by my buddy Jeff. I participated and wrote, along with several other YouTubers, several reviews for this book. And fairly recently, Jeff released a newer version of the book, and this is a much more in-depth version of the book. So there's so much more content, which I'll show you a little bit and show you kind of the differences between the two books in case you were kind of like on the fence about this one and you were like, I'm not a big fan, the paper quality, blah, blah, blah. So this one's completely redone. The paper is all new, the binding is different, and I was really impressed. So I figured I'd make a video to kind of showcase the differences between these two books. So is this one better than this one? Well, the short answer is yes, but if you want a little bit more details, stay tuned and wait, because we're going to take a look at these two. So here are the two different versions of the book. This is the older version of the book, and as you can see, there's the cover, and this is the back, and this is the cover on this one, and that's the back on that. So let's compare the backs real quick, just so you can see. Personally, I'm torn on this image on this one, just because it's a well done drawing, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't really to me fit with what I would want to see on a Super NES book, so to speak. It's okay, it's just, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I feel about it. Great drawing though, and you know, I'm sure he wanted to make use of it on this reprint, but I guess a lot of people complained about the drawing, so that's the reason why they changed the drawing. This one is, I like this one better, but it feels like all the images are kind of different in a way, like they were all drawn by different people possibly, or taken from different sources. I'm not entirely sure. Also, what's up with this? Is that just like the red armor Link? Oh, yeah, that makes sense because he has pink hair. All right, so let's dive in. By the way, this book is a lot, get out of here, Zelda. This book is a lot heavier than this one. So we're gonna open it up. Come on, go. All right, so this is the first page. This is what you open up when you see the book, and here you can compare it to this. There's nothing, and you may notice the glue here. They did a much better job in this newer version with the glue. Sorry, I'm trying to. So you may not be able to see it, but there's a line right here for the glue. Personally, I like this one much better. So definitely kudos to the new book. See, this should have been the cover in my opinion. This would have been awesome. I don't know, it's just everything is drawn by one person, so I feel like this would have been the right way to go. And I like this image of the Super Famicom on that side as well. It would have been cool if this side it was Super Famicom and maybe like this side was Super NES, but instead it looks like they just did like a blueprints kind of thing. On this, there's nothing, and again you can see the glue here. So I believe that this book had problems with the glue unhinging, and that's the reason for this reprint, but Jeff of course can correct me if I'm wrong. So now we'll go to the next page, and just so you can see, there's a lot of, like, this version is a lot glossier. It's much better paper than this. This is already, it's kind of like the binding is all messed up, so you can see like lumps in here. It's like divots. And the paper is just like, you know, it has no character to it. It's very flat. It's almost like a book that you would see in like if you were to go to like school, like a school book or a textbook or whatever. So this is the definitive version, this is the complete version, so this is obviously the complete definitive. This is the better version as far as what you see. And again, the glossy paper, you can really tell a difference. It's got a lot more shimmer to it, which is bad for lighting, unfortunately, but it's good because the feel of the paper is much, much better. So, and this is his little shout out to his daughter, which is really cool. And at this point, only a few things are changed. I actually prefer the art on this link to that link, but the Ganons look to be the same. Everything else looks the same here as well. Yeah. So we're not going to go through the whole book together, but just so you can kind of get a sense. This is a lot cleaner looking on this newer version here, whereas this, you know, with this and then, you know, this moved down, it's a little messy in my opinion. This is more like bullet point-esque. And here's everything else is the same here. The controller thing. So everything else is pretty much the same as far as this goes. I will say that the other book is a lot thicker. So let's open up to a random page just so you can kind of see the difference. We'll do 75 because that's got Dracula X on it. So everything is pretty much the same here as far as that goes. Here's another random page. So let's go to a page for an article that I wrote. I can't even remember what I wrote, to be honest with you. This was so long ago. Let's go to 287. Bingo. Alright, so when you look at these two, here's the newer book, just so you can kind of see these side by side as far as how they look. I will say that the font is a little bit cleaner in this version. So this is my review. This is one of several reviews that I did for this book. And you know, everything looks a lot cleaner here, a lot like tighter. You've got the title listed there, which is pretty cool, instead of, you know, just flipping through in case you can't read the font on the box, which is nice. So I'm glad that he added that. But everything else is pretty much the same as far as the differences between these two. Let's do a flip real quick just so you can see the other one a little bit more up close, just to see the difference. And what we'll do is we'll flip further down. Okay, so this has all of the import stuff in it as well, which has really been expanded. And it has the Super Famicom boxes. So just to kind of give you an idea, let's go to the Ganbare Goemon section, if there is a section for that. Oh, here's Dragon Ball Z. And that's the problem I have with these pages, is they're very hard to turn in this one. Okay, so this doesn't even have a, unless it's under Mystical Ninja or Legend of the Mystical Ninja. No, it's not. Okay, so there you go. So this is just further proof that this version of the book is really the definitive version, the superior version. One thing I really love about this version is there are so many imports. I mean, just so many. And it's really cool to just like flip through and learn about any game that you want on the Super Famicom, which is really cool. Yeah, here we go. So this is the Super Famicom, and this is the Super Nintendo stuff. And some of it's like PAL region or whatever, like some of this stuff back here. See, Super Nintendo. So this is the PAL region, so we added the PAL games in there. Oh, here's another one that I did, the Wolverine Adamantium Rage. I did that review as well. So, you know, I kind of like did really brief summaries of the games that I reviewed on my own channel. So yeah, just this alone right here sells it for me. This is like my favorite part of the book, other than, you know, I like the reviews that I did, of course, but this stuff is my bread and butter because I'm a huge fan of learning about the Super Famicom and trying to check out some of the games that never got released here, like Hyper-Iria, for example. Here's Operation Logic Bomb, which is called the Ikari no Yosai, which I reviewed as well on this channel. So yeah, really, really, really thorough, detailed explanations with each book. And then you get to this stuff like the Power Fest, stuff like that. Here's the Super Nintendo PlayStation, or the Nintendo PlayStation, if you will. Here's the competitive stuff. It's a really, really nice book, and it's very well done. Here's, let's see, oh, this is really cool. I haven't even really sat down and fully flipped through the entire book. I've, you know, kind of glazed through it, but I feel a lot better about leaving something like this in my bathroom for me to just like sit around and kind of flip through, just because there's it's much more thorough. These look to be unreleased games, and yeah, it looks like unreleased games, some homebrew stuff. Yeah, here's some homebrew stuff. Just like really cool. And then here's the contributors. You could see like people like John Riggs, James Greenberg. There's me, Matt Esro, Gamester 81, My Life in Gaming. So like, you know, really awesome book here. There's Daria Plays and Rewind Mike. And so that is what's going on. This is pretty cool. So that's the book. Ooh, it is heavy. Whew. So that is the difference between these two books. Definitely, if you haven't picked up the book, this version is the one you want to go with. Don't hunt down the other version. You know, it's fine and all, but I really feel like this is a great version. You know, there's other people out there that are doing Super Nintendo books. I know of at least 2 others. And you know, one thing I really like about this is that it's very community driven, and it really focuses not just on like the big guys doing big stuff. This book is made by fans for fans, and I think the product quality itself shows. So, you know, I'm not trying to sell you this, I'm not making any money off of this book, it's more just me kind of showcasing the differences between the two books. Jeff was kind enough to send me this version of the book, so I figured I'd do a video on the differences. So let me know what you think. If you've picked up this book, what you think of it, if you're gonna plan on picking this version up instead, or if you already had the first and you're gonna upgrade. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and that is all for today. Thanks for watching.